Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Toby Eunice with the Gypsy'sKiss.tv. Stick with me a couple of seconds, and I'll introduce you to Fenn treasure searcher Sarah Jane Woodall. So everybody, thanks for joining us today. Before I start our interview with Sarah Jane, I'd like to make a couple of announcements. First of all, I'd like to welcome the subscribers from Sarah Jane's channel, Wonderhussy Adventures. Thank you for joining us today. This is also being streamed live to her channel as well. Secondly, as you know, my partner Shelley Carney handles production duties in the chat room. Shelley is at a class today, so she can't pass on your Q&A to me, but especially for Sarah and in Sarah's subscriber base. So if you would, please, if you have a question for Sarah, send a text message to 1-800-947-1043, and you'll see that number right above me over here, 1-800-947-1043. Text your message. I'll see it on my cell phone, and I'll be able to ask Sarah the question. And then lastly, for any of those of you who are interested in participating in our It's All About You interview campaign, you can start by filling out the questionnaire at questionnaire.gypsieskiss.tv, and it will come in the order that you fill it out, and eventually we'll get to you and make arrangements for you to conduct a very similar interview. So, Sarah, thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for having me, Toby.
It's been great just talking to you and working through these technologies. And I've got to tell you, you've done a wonderful job of setting up your platform, your audio, your video, and your lighting. You did a great job.
Thank you. I know lighting if I know nothing else.
So let's start at the beginning. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and you can go back as far as you want to kindergarten or start in the middle, but just tell us how you got to where you are today.
Well, I'm originally from California. My dad was in the military, so I grew up in Germany for 8 years. I got a little European flair from that experience. But after that, back to California until I graduated from college with an art degree. And I thought, how am I ever going to afford to live in California with an art degree? So I moved to Las Vegas, which I always thought would be an interesting city to live in, and it certainly is that. I've been here for 18 years now, and there's never a dull moment. I mean, you never get bored here. There's always something to do. And it's not just the city, though. I'm really into the outdoors and exploring the outskirts around the city. Yeah. And Vegas is uniquely situated in the middle of tons of public land, so no shortage of places to explore.
And so it sounds like you moved to Las Vegas in 1990. And what have you been doing since you arrived in Las Vegas?
I started out, well, of course, I wanted to be a cocktail waitress at Caesar's Palace. That was my dream job. Oh, I'll get rich and I get to wear this cute little white toga and walk around a casino all day going, drinks, drinks. But I thought about it, and that's really not a great job. I mean, you look at some of these waitresses that have been doing it for 30 years, and they don't look very happy. So I ended up becoming a photographer instead in a showroom. So like, you go to see a Vegas show, they come around, hey, get together, let me take your picture. So I did that for a long time, and I enjoyed it. Although it was a sales job, I'm not really comfortable being a pushy salesperson. I did well. But eventually, I just started to chafe working for someone else. And I thought, oh, I want to be my own boss. I'm just going to go out on my own and become a freelancer. And at that time I had started modeling on the side, and I realized, I could probably make enough money modeling to support myself full time without having to come take pictures every night in a smoky casino. So in 2012, I quit my job and went full-time freelance, and I've been a full-time freelancer ever since.
Well, congratulations. A very nice move on your part, I'm sure. And I noticed one of your recent videos was a day-long shoot someplace in the desert in Nevada.
Oh, that wasn't a day long. It was 7 days.
Okay.
So an entire week, this photographer hired me and 6 or 5 other models to travel in an RV, a 25-foot RV, up and down the state of Nevada between Vegas and Reno for 7 days in an enclosed 25-foot RV with 5 other women. I mean, maybe it sounds like a fantasy to some of you, but the reality was not what you're probably thinking.
Yeah, I can imagine. So I'm sure that one of the reasons that I was attracted to the idea of interviewing you is that, of course, I'm a subscriber to your channel, and I've always been, since I first saw it, I've been fascinated with it, and I'm going to describe it as a travel vlog with a touch of playfulness and a hint of sexiness. So why don't you tell us about your YouTube channel?
Well, it all started as an offshoot of my modeling. I mean, the type of modeling I do, I specialize in taking photographers out to the desert in the areas around Vegas. So I was always constantly scouting for interesting new places to shoot. And for whatever reason, a lot of photographers like shooting beautiful young women against busted up old decay. So I was always looking for new old abandoned buildings and factories and places like that. And eventually I got more interested in actually doing the exploring and finding the places, and then trying to figure out what happened at the place and why did it become abandoned and who lived here, and digging through the artifacts left behind. And that just became more interesting to me than the actual modeling. So I threw up a few videos just almost as afterthought, and they did well. I got a lot of emails from people, and then I realized, oh, there's money in my YouTube account. Hold everything. Let me just stop and focus on this for a minute. And I would say about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I started regularly uploading consistently. Every Wednesday, I upload a new video going to some strange new place, generally in the desert around Vegas, but I do wander pretty far afield.
So is there a 1-to-1 ratio between your travels and the number of videos that end up on your YouTube channel? Or like we do, we'll go out for 5 days and we make 3 or 4 videos from that. How does it work for you?
Just depends. I mean, if there's a certain place that I want to go and I'm going there just to shoot that, I may just go to shoot that. If I'm going someplace where there's an opportunity to shoot more, yes, I'll get as much as I can. But sometimes it is just like I just hiked Mount Whitney last week, and that was a big time commitment and all of that, but it's just one video. Here's me hiking Mount Whitney.
Right. And how long have you been active with your YouTube channel?
Well, I technically started it, I guess YouTube says, in 2011, but I didn't start regularly uploading until 2016.
And now you have how many subscribers?
I think I'm at like 41,000, closing in on 42.
Very good. Very good. Sooner or later, it becomes a business, doesn't it?
It is. I mean, it already is a full-time job. I'm just trying to get a full-time income to go along with it.
We know the feeling. So
I bet you do.
What are the plans for your YouTube channel?
World domination, the usual. No, I just want to grow it, continue to grow my subscriber base, continue to improve my editing, make my videos look more polished, and explore ever more remote and advanced locations. I've got a pretty gnarly 4-wheel drive car, and I can get to some pretty interesting places. You're
very proud of that. What is it? Not a Nissan. Is it a Nissan?
No, it's a Toyota 4Runner.
Toyota, right. Yeah, I've noticed that you've taken a lot of pleasure in that particular vehicle, and it does get you into some really interesting places. So tell everybody where they can find you and a little bit about how often you post and kind of what they can expect to see when they get there.
Well, my channel is Wonderhussy Adventures. Wonderhussy, that's Wonderhussy. I always say my mother was Wonder Woman and my father was a shameless hussy. And here I am. And I post every Wednesday new videos. They're pretty much usually desert exploration, or sometimes I'm road tripping somewhere and I come across like roadside oddities. Kooky, kitschy. It's family friendly. I would say it's maybe PG-13. Every once in a while I'll make like a snarky joke that's for adults only, but I don't use adult language or anything like that. It's safe to watch it. It's safe to watch with your pastor.
Good. Well, I'm sure that's kind of, I don't know that we're safe to watch with a pastor, but so the other thing I noticed is that, I don't know whether I heard you say this to me in our conversations or whether you said it on one of your videos, but you mentioned that you take off during the summers expressly for the purpose of traveling and creating new content. Is that still true for you?
Yeah, I'm lucky that I have the flexibility of my schedule. It gets so hot here in the summer. Okay, Vegas, it's be up to like 117 and it gets humid and we get these monsoons. Whew. I take off at the earliest opportunity, generally late June, and I try not to come back until early September. And I use that time traveling, exploring up in the mountains, higher altitude, someplace where it's cooler. and make videos as I go along.
And tell me a little bit about what kind you look like you have a very small kit, a relatively small kit for what you're doing. Tell me about your equipment kit.
Toby, I'm using my cell phone.
Oh.
I have a Samsung Galaxy Note 8. I have an external microphone with a windscreen because it gets pretty windy, but that's it. I don't use any lighting, or I don't have anyone helping me. I do all the editing, all the music, everything. I do it all myself. My sister used to help me a bit, but she ran out of funds and had to go get a job. So now I'm on my own again.
And I imagine she lives in Las Vegas as well?
No, my sister actually lives in Los Angeles area.
Oh, so you guys actually have to commute to make these trips that you've been describing.
Well, a lot of the stuff we do is in the desert between Los Angeles and Las Vegas, so it's like meet me in the middle kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, I've heard you mention her several times on some of the videos that you've done.
Oh, she's probably watching right now. Hi, Eliza.
Hi, Eliza. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, she'll love that.
So let's talk about your Fenn treasure search. Now, I know you started this. You've got a couple of videos on the Fenn treasure hunt, amongst all the other videos that you have in your travel vlog. But they were very well done, and you made a significant investment in all three: time, effort, and money to create the video that you did about the Fenn treasure hunt. And it sounded to me like it started out as a travel vlog, but then you got serious about it. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. This was last summer, 2017, summer of 2017. I thought, well, there's all these people looking for this treasure, and I've got all this free time. I want to get out of Vegas anyways. I should go look for that treasure. I bet I could find it. I've got just as good a chance as anyone. And my sister and I are both pretty avid outdoors women. We like hiking, and we're both really into hot springs, natural hot springs. So we thought, oh, we've got an edge. We know all about warm waters in the entire Western United States. We'll find this thing in 3 days. So we had already planned to go visit a friend who lives in Taos, New Mexico. We thought, oh, well, we're going to Taos anyways. We'll spend a few days just kind of looking around the Taos area. Like, not anything really serious, but we're there anyways. So I needed some content for my channel before I left for Taos. So I made a quickie little vlog video sitting at my desk, like, here's what I'm about to go do, guys.
Right.
I'm going to go look for this treasure. And I had a map and a magnifying glass and a Boy Scout shirt on and the whole thing. It was just a goof, right? So we go to Taos, and then I got an email from none other than Fenn himself, who watched the video and liked it. He liked my moxie and invited my sister and I to come visit with him when we were in Santa Fe. So, of course, I said yes, I would love to do that. So my sister and I went over and visited Fenn in his study, which, as everyone watching probably knows, is amazing. And he was just a wonderful, wonderful person. I mean, he was so nice. I'm sure part of why he invited us over is he's a ladies' man.
Yeah, he likes the ladies, yeah.
Right. So, I kind of had that in mind, but he was just nothing but polite and cordial, wonderful person. We sat with him for probably close to 3 hours.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a lot of time.
Right. Yeah, I know. Going in, my sister and I kind of had a little, so do we have any questions we want to ask him? But at that time, we weren't really serious about the hunt. We had read the book, The Thrill of the Chase, and we knew, all the poem and everything, but we didn't have any solid ideas where we were going to be searching. I mean, this was just sort of like a lark for us. So we didn't have any specific questions to ask. So we thought, let's just talk to him and see where the conversation goes and just sort of pick up on, subtle cues from him, that kind of thing. So as we're sitting there over the 3 hours, I mean, this conversation just went on and on. He likes to talk.
Yeah.
And every now and then he'd go, so what do you girls want to know? I was like, well,
where's the treasure?
It was like the elephant in the room, right? But I just feel like that would have been in poor taste, right?
Exactly.
Where's the gold, old man? So, we just came here to visit with you, blah, blah. We just kind of let the conversation take its course. And it was a wonderful visit. He talked a lot, told a lot of stories, some of which I already had read in his book. And he took us into his vault and showed us all his, special things in there. But the highlight of the visit for me was I had read in one of the profiles of him, one of the writers went and got a drink out of this bottle of brandy that Jackie Kennedy left in that, or Jackie Onassis left. So he had told me that he would give my sister and I a sip of brandy. I was really excited about that. And he did. He shared it with us. We had a little nip of brandy with him. And then after about 3 hours, one of his daughters kept coming in there, like
checking in, right?
Make sure we don't have them tied up and like beating the information out. But after 3 hours, we left and, got around the corner and like, well, it's still fresh in our mind. Okay, what do we take from this meeting? And what we took from it was he spent almost the entire 3 hours talking about West Yellowstone. And prior to that, like I said, I hadn't done that much research into it, but I sort of felt that it would be in New Mexico because of his age and the fact that he hit it in one afternoon, blah, 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 blah. I just felt like, and the whole thing about 8.25 miles north of Santa Fe, and he hadn't said anything about the Rocky Mountains yet at that point. I just felt it was a no-brainer. It's in New Mexico. But then I go to this meeting with him, and he spends the whole time talking about West Yellowstone. I was like, okay, is he trying to lead us astray? Is he trying to mess with us? Or is he trying to give us this little push in the right direction? Well, we had the whole summer free. Well, I guess we should drive to West Yellowstone. So we went from Santa Fe, went to Taos, and we did search a little bit around there. And then we went up, since we had to pass through Colorado anyways. I thought, oh, well, we should at least pay homage to Browns Canyon and go look around there. And then now I'm making this video at the same time, like, oh, I should make a video about the hunt. So I should probably try to hit all the hot spots, all the main spots. We passed through Wyoming, but we didn't stop in Lander. And we went all the way up to West Yellowstone and Gardner, Montana, all around Yellowstone Park. And we spent, 4 or 5 days searching there. And we did actually have a couple, or I would say reconning, I guess, not searching. We had a couple of recons that, I got excited. Like, oh, this looks like the kind of place I would want to die and leave my bones.
And hide a treasure, right?
Right? But we obviously didn't find anything. So we kind of went home after that, like, well, we'll do more research over the winter and then we'll come back next summer. Well, neither one of us did any more research over the winter. We had other stuff going on. So now this summer of 2018 rolls around and I go, hey, I'm going to go look for that treasure again. You want to come? And she didn't have as much time. My sister didn't have as much time this summer, but we did spend a bit of time, and we decided it probably was in New Mexico after all. So we spent some time in New Mexico searching, and I actually spent an entire month in New Mexico searching your beautiful state, which, by the way, oh my God, I spent a month driving around. Okay, I saw all the back areas, and it was gorgeous.
We are partial, of course, as you know from our videos, to New Mexico, and it's just that we find these beautiful places to look for what we expect to be a beautiful treasure. So I can appreciate and admire what you guys found out. But I do know that you have a passion for hot springs. So you've seen hot springs in New Mexico that I didn't even know existed. How do you find them?
Really? I have a book, a hot spring guidebook.
Oh, okay, all right. Just that simple.
Yeah. I mean, but you're right. There's some amazing ones, like the area around Jemez Springs. Well, beautiful.
The one that you found in Las Vegas completely surprised me. The one that has associated with that
United World College.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was a really interesting one, and a beautiful area. Yeah. So. Before I continue with our interview, I do want to remind everybody, and I'm starting to get them, I do want to remind everybody that it's hard for me to look at the chat room. So if you want to ask Sarah Jane a question, make sure you text it to the 1-800 number, 1-800-947-1043. And I promised her that we would get through as many of them as we could in the 1 hour time limit that I set, because I think you're working this afternoon, right? Yeah. So we've got to get her out of here at a reasonable time. So let's go through the questionnaire. You did. I asked Sarah Jane to fill out the same questionnaire that we asked everyone else to fill out, and she did. And she says what she's already told us. She lives in Nevada. She believes. Oh, in what state do you believe Fenn hid the treasure?
I think it's in New Mexico. I mean, I keep waffling back and forth, especially because I watch a lot of your channel's videos and hear what these other searchers have to say. Like, well, especially when Cynthia Meacham went up to West Yellowstone. I thought, oh wow, I mean, she's done hundreds of searches in New Mexico. I mean, if it was there, it seems like she would have found it, but I guess if I were to go back and look, it would be in New Mexico.
And generally speaking, since you brought her up, what is your perception of the Fenn searcher community? What do you think about them?
Oh wow, I think they're great. Like when I came to Santa Fe the first time after Fenn invited us over, Cynthia invited me to lunch. I went and had lunch with her. She bought me lunch. Like, such a wonderful woman. If you're watching, Cynthia, hi. Loved it. And it's just been nothing but positive and supportive, which is so weird for YouTube, right?
Yeah.
I love the fact that everybody takes care of each other. And when you have fundraisers for a member of the community that has a medical need, I love that. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, we are pleased with the way the community sticks together, not only from the perspective of the search, but when it comes to, as you mentioned, these raffle drawings that Fenn has effectively sponsored and have been very successful. This last one that we did for Jamie Jordan was really, really very successful. When do you believe Fenn's treasure will be found?
I mean, that was just kind of a guess. Obviously, no one knows, but there was all this like fire under our seats last summer. Oh, he feels like it's going to be found this summer. Oh, well, now his feelings are wavering. Was it because of forest fires? Who knows? I feel like obviously the more people that are looking for it, the higher the odds are that someone's going to find it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I really want to know where it is. I'm hoping in the next rest of my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
50 years.
So this question wasn't on the questionnaire, but I've started asking it to people just because it seems to me to be more than an often spoken about topic. And that is when it comes to Fenn's feelings about the treasure, some people believe that he would like it found before he passes, and other people believe that he doesn't care one way or the other. What do you think?
I mean, obviously, I think he likes all the media attention, so it would be a media blitz if somebody found it. But if nobody finds it, he's still getting plenty of media coverage. So I don't know that he really cares one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess I would lean towards him wanting it to be found. I feel like he's a storyteller, and wouldn't every storyteller want to be there for the end of their story? I don't know.
Or have somebody else tell it in 100 years or 1,000 years. So
he won't be around to hear it.
To hear it, that's right. Well, although I don't think of him as religious, I believe he has a spiritual nature about him. And you get a sense of that whenever you spend time with him. He just seems to elicit that kind of feeling. I have no guarantees and no empirical evidence for it, but you just have a feeling he's a very spiritual person, and that somehow or the other he's going to know whether or not it's going to be found, whether it's going to be found or not, whether he's alive or not. So what do you believe is the percent probability of you finding Fenn's treasure?
Oh, I mean, I don't spend as much time boots on the ground as a lot of people, and I'm really lagging in the research department. So I would say slim, but I don't remember what I put on the questionnaire, 25%, something like that.
26 to 50, you said.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have as good a chance as most people. I'm just maybe not as dedicated. See, I have the opposite problem from many searchers. I have all the time and the proximity to the search areas, but I just don't know where to go. I don't have any. I've never had a fired up idea where I'm like, I know where it is. Oh my God, I got to take off work and go there right now and drive 36 hours straight through to get there. No, I've never had a hunch like that.
And there are people that do. There was a good deal of activity this spring after Fenn mentioned in February that he had a gut feeling that it would be found this summer. And I think a lot of people, I'm not going to say half the community, but a significant number, a percentage of the community said, he's talking about me, I better get out there quick. Yeah. And so this was amazing amount of activity. And of course, the resulting disappointment as well. So you've been in New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, and Montana, but you said you've only searched New Mexico. You did the homage to Browns Canyon.
Mm-hmm. You didn't. A brief visit.
Didn't get to Lander, but I'm going to we spent 5 days in the Lander area, and it is a wonderful town to visit, and that Sinks Canyon area is just amazing.
Well, I've actually been to Lander, ironically enough, the summer before, but the treasure wasn't on my radar.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. It is a beautiful area, and if you get a chance, the Sinks Canyon State Park rents yurts for campers. So and they're very refined. Yeah, they rent these plastic yurts. I don't know how to describe them. Very refined, and they're very inexpensive. So, but you have to reserve them early because they fill quickly. So if you ever get back to that Sinks Canyon area, make sure you spend some time in one of the yurts. They looked very comfortable. So which of Fenn's memoirs do you own?
I have The Thrill of the Chase, and then he was kind enough to give us a copy of Too Far to Walk.
Did he sign?
No, I don't think he signed it. Oddly enough, I don't even know if he signed it or not. But he gave us a bunch of his other books that he had written about Leon Gaspard and Indian Dolls and San Lazaro Pueblo.
Wow.
He gave us a bunch of books. It was crazy. He was very generous. And he gave me a little coin, and he gave my sister a little ring, and just little tchotchkes, but so kind. but I don't have the latest.
The Once Upon a While.
Once in a while. No, I feel like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll end up getting it next summer when I get fired up again. But right now, I feel like I have enough information, and I don't want to cloud the water. I kind of like to be a poem purist, and all you need is a poem and a map.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because if you really start reading all these books and getting into psychology, it's easy to come up with all kinds of theories.
So you've met Fenn. You've done a lot of research. You've spent a great deal of time looking for the treasure, and like all the rest of us, you haven't come up with anything. The big question is, do you believe it's still out there?
I do think it's out there. I do have questions as I'm searching about certain things. Like, I have a Forerunner that's lifted with giant tires on it, so I can drive all these crazy places. But a lot of the time I would catch myself driving down a road and go, is this really a road he would have driven down? I mean, he said he put it in the trunk of his sedan.
Right.
Okay, a sedan is probably not capable of going up all these crazy 4x4 roads. So every now and then I have to catch myself and go, remember what has been said and like his exact words. So that's one thing I wonder about. I'm really hung up on this whole idea of where did he park his car? Because if his original plan was to take the treasure and go die with it and then somebody just find it, well, they're going to find, he could only have parked, maybe 3 miles from where he hid it if he was able to make 2 trips in one afternoon, an afternoon being at the longest 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. in 5 hours. It sounds like a math problem. How many miles could an 82-year-old man, blah, blah, blah. I figure at the most 3 miles. So if he just took this treasure off into the woods to die somewhere 3 miles from his car, I feel like that's a pretty small search radius for the authorities. Like, oh, we have a missing person. We got to find, search and rescue would find him.
Right, exactly.
So where did he put his dang car?
That's kind of I think an issue that he finally realized, that his initial plan, which was to die with the treasure, was spoiled by the fact that he couldn't do that without leaving a trace. He would have left a trail, whether he parked. Some people have talked about him parking it in Chama, taking the train up into the mountains and doing it from there, because they will let you off from the train. They do that for hunters and campers all the time. But then the car would have been in Chama, and you could have easily concluded he got on the train, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's the problem that he finally came to. He recently got a question on Mysterious Writings about whether or not he still planned to go back, I can't quote him precisely because I just don't have that kind of memory, but he basically said he realizes that it would be very difficult, but he thinks about it every once in a while. He still has that, like, well, maybe if I could fly in and jump out of an aircraft with a parachute, let the aircraft fly on, who knows.
Wow.
Okay, so a couple of last questions for you. Number one, what are your plans over the winter months, aside from continuing to produce content for your YouTube channel? In terms of the hunt, has your interest in it been reinvigorated enough to invest time in it? So if it has, what are your plans for the winter months?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely still interested in it. I'm just not much of a planner, I guess. Like, I can sit at my desk and look at Google Maps all day, and I just feel like there's really no substitute for being there in person, which is why I spent an entire month driving around New Mexico. I was working on a solve similar to yours, I think, with the warm waters thing within the state of New Mexico and where they halted. So I searched the area where they halt, on both sides of where they halt, on every place where it was public accessible land, and it was really more like reconning because there's a lot of ground to cover. But I just go to a place and camp and look around and get a sense for it. And I had a couple places that I went that I felt to bore further investigation. So if I were to go back next summer, I would go back to those places. And if I were to work over the winter, it would probably be just snooping around research about those particular areas.
Places in New Mexico.
In New Mexico,
so you're back to New Mexico.
I am back to New Mexico.
So if you were to, you might have the opportunity to go visit Fenn again to get him to sign that Too Far to Walk. Just let him know. I was going to ask you, when you said that he told you had a lot of moxie, did he actually use the word moxie?
I don't think he did.
Oh, okay.
It was that sentiment. And when I went back this summer, I thought about I should email him and I should just, hey, I'm going to be back in town. But I didn't because I don't know. I didn't want to be a buggeroo.
Hey, email him. Tell him you bought a book and you'd like to have him autograph it, sign a dedication for you. And I'm sure he's a is very open to those kinds of things, especially when it's the ladies.
I know, he's surprisingly open. I mean, I frankly couldn't believe that he'd invite two total strangers over, and you never know what kind of grifters we could have been.
Well, I'm sure he's watched. It's interesting to hear that he's seen your YouTube videos. So
well, I only know that he saw that one. I don't know if he's watched it.
Yeah. Yeah, he does keep busy. He likes to know, I think, where he stands on this. He's going to watch this, so you might as well say hi and ask to visit him again.
Well, good thing that I said nothing but flattering things about him. They were all sincere, wonderful person. I really enjoyed visiting with you, and I sure would like another sip of that brandy.
Very good. Okay, so we got a bunch of last question. Seriously, last question. Now that you've been out and in addition done all that adventure traveling that you have done, what advice would you give to a searcher who is just now finding out about the Forrest Fenn treasure?
That you really got to get boots on the ground and just go looking. I mean, for me, I know I look very high maintenance, but I sleep in my car, man. Like my sister and I both have Forerunners, and we're car campers. We'll drive way up in the mountains and find a spot and, brush our teeth with a jug of water kind of thing. And I feel like that gives you more time on the ground in the area, and it minimizes your budget. So my advice to would-be searchers would be, keep in mind how much all this is going to cost, and do whatever you can to spend as much time as you can actually searching. So if that means foregoing the comforts of a hotel room, then so be it.
Well, I have a lot of respect for anyone who can spend a week every year at Burning Man, because I can't imagine that's any more than a hard camping adventure.
Yeah, it pretty much is. You're right about that.
So let's go on. I've got a bunch of questions on our little texting machine here. Let's see what we got. Where we got? So the other thing I was going to ask you guys, if you would please make sure that when you send a text, you give me your name and what state you're writing in from, so that we can mention it on the show. Hello from Grant and Lucky Dog. Ask Sarah when was her last time in Ballarat visiting Rock Novak, the Paperboy.
Oh, so Ballarat is a ghost town right outside Death Valley that has one inhabitant. This really interesting man named Rock Novak. He's an old miner. He's got a chiseled, grizzled face. Really a nice man. So I do spend some time out there hanging out with him, because he's just got a lot of cool stories. He's a wonderful person. So I was there over Easter weekend, and I don't know when I'll be back, but I definitely will.
Good place to visit, huh? I don't have a name for this. Sarah, would you ever consider visiting the ghost town Lund, L-U-N-D, Utah?
Of course, I would consider visiting any ghost town. I have a Google map that I keep all these suggestions on, so I will add Lund, Utah to that map, and I'll get to it when I can.
What is it about the ghost towns that intrigues you?
I don't know. This goes back to the whole archaeological aspect of, like, who lived here and why did they leave, and what can we tell about their lives by the things they left behind, that kind of thing. It's just interesting to me.
Oh, do you have a degree in either archaeology or anthropology, or is it an amateur interest?
No, remember, Toby, I got an art degree.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you mentioned that.
Amateur interest. I'm a dabbler.
Yeah, as we all are. Let's see. I have a fine arts degree as well.
Oh, yay.
How did you get the name Wonderhussy?
Well, like I said earlier, my mother was Wonder Woman and my father was a shameless hussy. No, just kidding. Well, I work as an artistic nude model, like out in the desert on rocks, like Edward Weston. There's some actual historical precedence for this. It's not smut. But that being said, a lot of people still assume the worst about me. So I thought, well, if they're going to call me names anyways, I might as well be the best dang hussy there is.
Take advantage. Use branding and marketing counts, right?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Okay, have you ever thought of let me read this first before I... Okay, so again, guys, remember to send me your name, and when you send the text, include your name and where you're writing in from, so I can mention it to Sarah. So this person didn't, because it was before I mentioned it. Have you ever thought of meeting up with Adam the Woo and doing a joint vlog? Dave, he did say Dave from Louisiana.
Well, Dave, yes, I have. Adam the Woo, have you heard of him, Toby?
No, I haven't, no.
Oh, he's got a YouTube channel with a huge subscriber base. He basically kind of does what I do, just travels around odd places and, hey, look at this. And yes, I have thought of meeting up with him. I've never reached out to him, but if you know him, tell him to call me. I would be happy. some with him.
Adam, that sounds like an invitation. Give her a call. Sounds like an opportunity for a joint vlog entry. Sarah.
We could be Wonderhussy together.
Wonderhussy. See, that marketing mind always working. Sarah, you look so young, especially for someone wandering the desert all the time. I think that's a compliment. How much time do you devote to your YouTube compared to modeling? And do you ever go further east than New Mexico?
Well, thank you, first of all, for your kind compliment. I do spend a lot of time, even when I'm camping in my car in the mountains behind Osher, Colorado, New Mexico. I don't even remember which state that was in. I sit there at night and put on all my creams and blah, blah. I take care of myself. I would definitely consider going farther east. I just mostly travel by car. I mean, obviously I'm not afraid to fly. I've flown places, but I like the freedom and independence of being in my car. So it is something that I definitely plan to do. I want to travel around the entire USA. I mean, my plan with my YouTube channel is to get to the point where I can fully support myself on it and just travel indefinitely. So yes, I will be coming to a state near
you. Good one. All right. Sarah, I really appreciate your points of view and relate to your love of ephemera, aesthetic explorations, and the way land reaches us. If you ever hit DC, let's hit the Strange of DC area. Love your smile. DV Vincent on YouTube.
Wow, so many big words.
Yeah. A lot of ephemera in there, wasn't there?
Well, you know, DC. Just kidding. I love it. I have $5 words in my vocabulary too.
I raised my children in DC, so I was there for 35 years. This is from Radical Ralph in Maine. Just wanted to say sorry. It's done. Oh, you know what? It's a voicemail. I can't play it. Let me see. 2 years using some.
Hi, Ralph.
Hi, Ralph. Sorry, we can't do the voicemails today, Ralph, because I didn't set up my Bluetooth. So.
That's okay. I know Ralph. He messages me all the time.
Oh,
Just
okay.
send me a message, Ralph.
All right. So, Sarah, what is your scariest outdoor experience? Have you ever seen a ghost, UFO, or Bigfoot, or anything weird like that? So, what do you think? What is your scariest experience?
Man, I wish I had seen all of those things because I'd have 1 billion subscribers. Unfortunately, I have never seen any of them, and I'm kind of a skeptic, cynic. I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it. I'm open, especially to the possibility of aliens and UFOs. But I live right by Area 51. I've been out there 1 million times. I've never seen anything.
So
I've tried.
Have you actually been on Area 51 or around it?
Well, I couldn't tell you that, Toby.
Oh, okay. You'd have to kill me, right? So let me finish what he has to say. I've been watching your channel off and on for the last 2 years. Congratulations on your success, and I hope your channel continues to grow. That's from
thank you. Very kind.
Tice.
Thank you, Tice.
All right. So, hi, Wonderhussy. I was wondering where you come up with your ideas or where to explore. Thanks. Love your videos. How do you come up with your ideas?
I actually get a lot of ideas from viewers. People email me all the time, like, oh, you should go check out, like the person that suggested I go to Lund, Utah. I have the map, like I said then, where I pin all these different suggestions that come up. And if I happen to be traveling to that part of the country, I pull my map up. I go, oh, okay, I'll check this, 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 and this. So send them in if you have any ideas for me. Wonderhussy@gmail.com. I appreciate it.
Very good. Good idea. Sarah, you're the reason I'm going to the Los Angeles RV show next week. Your videos on Vimeo rock. Hubba hubba.
Yeah, Vimeo has a more lax policy regarding nudity. I'll just leave it at that.
Oh, okay.
But yes, I'm glad I was able to encourage you to go to the RV show because you'll probably have a bunch of great adventures and you'll love it.
Signed, Forrest Fenn. No, I'm just teasing. Let's go. All right, Justin, this is from one of our subscribers. His name is Justin. His screen name is Minotaur Moreno, and he asks really technical Fenn searcher questions. So let's see what he's done here. Do the scrapbooks weekly? Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was last week. That's my question. All
Good.
right.
I was starting to sweat.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Ted M. My question is, will she be doing a road trip to Texas? I would like to meet her. Thanks, Ted.
Hey, Ted. Yes, I would love to go to Texas. In fact, I just found out my dad's family is from Texas. So I've got family out there. So yeah, I don't have any concrete plans, but I will definitely be coming out there at some point.
Recommendations for you. It's more towards the spring, South by Southwest in Austin.
Oh, Oh yeah, I'd
a
love to go
wonderful event. It's kind of the indoor sane version of Burning Man.
that. Well, what's sane? That doesn't sound fun.
Okay, do you have any idea what the treasure is? Well,
Well,
let me answer that. We do. Everybody knows what the treasure is because Fenn has done an amazing job of describing it and presenting photographs in his book, The Thrill of the Chase. So if you just go online, look up Fenn and Thrill of the Chase, you'll see a lot of images of the treasure, the chest, and and its contents. So yeah, we do know
yeah,
what
and
it is.
I'm one of those people that believes pretty much that it's exactly like he described it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you on that. So Sarah Jane is a 1 in a million. I think she would have a great time exploring Adak, Alaska, former military base.
Oh, I sure would. Alaska is on my bucket list for sure. I'd love to check that out.
It's a beautiful country. I've been there a couple of times. I haven't spent as much time as I have wanted to because mostly it was on business or projects for the government. But every place I had been in was just beautiful. And the people are this interesting mix of iconoclasts and adventurers. It's an interesting combination of people that end up in Alaska.
That's basically my people.
So this is a question for me. Hi, Toby and Shelley, although you're not Shelley. My question is, which states were most of the searchers looking in from 2010 to 2013 before Fenn and the Rocky Mountains? So whoever asked that question, most searchers, the majority, I'll say around 60 to 70%, were looking in New Mexico just because of the things that Fenn had said. But there were some searchers already heading north to the Yellowstone area, kind of like we all do eventually, because of what Fenn does, which is talk about West Yellowstone. As Sarah mentioned before, in a 3-hour conversation with him at his house, she and her sister Eliza left saying to themselves all he did was talk about West Yellowstone. And I don't know if you guys recall, but David Kirshner of Wired Magazine was writing an article for Wired Magazine and was so convinced after speaking with Fenn that it was in the Yellowstone area that he ordered tickets, airplane and hotel, and made reservations for the West Yellowstone area, and showed up there about the time that we were having Fenbury here in New Mexico. So there are pictures on that. So, hello, Sarah. If you find the treasure, would you keep it or give it to charity, like the interview?
Well, I'd probably do what you guys have said you would do with it, and it'd be really hard for me to keep anonymous, though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. That'd be really hard to do. But auction it through Sotheby's, whatever, and whatever money I was able to make off of it, I'm sure I would donate at least part of it to charity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not that altruistic. I probably wouldn't give all of it, but yeah, a chunk for sure. I don't know what charity, but.
Our position on the matter is that the person who buys it at auction is probably far more able to afford donating it than we are, at least, if nothing else, loaning it to someone.
I like it. I'll stick with that.
Let's see. This question is for Sarah. How much are you making roughly a month on YouTube? Also, Gypsy's Kids, could you answer this one too? None of us share that information. It's unfair to not only us, but it's unfair to the other YouTubers. We make far less than everybody else believes, but it pays in some ways for the number of hours that each of us, Sarah included, put into creating content. But I can tell you, if you measured it on an hourly basis, it's not even close to minimum wage. So don't think you can start making.
It's a labor of love.
It is exactly. Steve Wright from would you ever consider visiting the ghost town? Oh, he already asked that. That was the second time. Let's see. I'm going to pass on this one, okay?
Okay.
What's the most dangerous place you've ever gone to?
I explored an abandoned, it was super toxic, super fun site, mercury mine. So from a what are you breathing perspective, that's probably pretty dangerous. Mm-hmm. I felt like I just needed to be decontaminated after being there. Ugh.
Have you ever injured yourself during one of your video shoots? And this is from Christopher Guerra from Richmond, California.
Well, not seriously, but in pretty much my first ever upload, I was exploring this abandoned casino town. It was middle of nowhere on the border of California and Nevada. This whole town was abandoned. There used to be a casino there. So I'm like, oh, what is this? I didn't even know what I was doing. I had a little GoPro and I'm just running around looking at stuff. And I'm notorious for always wearing flip-flops, okay, inappropriate footwear. And boy, howdy, if I didn't step right on a nail, a rusty nail, just like they always warn you about, and it went clean through my flip-flop and into my foot. Yeah, but so I turned the camera off and I kind of like cleaned it off as best I could and just went right on exploring.
So I think I've seen Eliza wearing more practical outdoor footwear, right?
Well, no, I do have hiking boots, and I wear them when I have to.
So this is also from Christopher. Have you ever thought about visiting areas in Mexico?
Oh, yes, absolutely. In fact, one of my biggest regrets is that I only started the channel 2 years ago, and prior to that, I've been to Mexico few times, and I've been to so many places I could have made videos of. So yes, I will definitely be back to Mexico.
Good. So the Baja area is always beautiful.
Oh,
so this is Ralph from Southern California. Have you ever been to the Salton Sea Slab City?
Yes, I have. It was one of my better performing videos. I went there for New Year's Eve last year, and it was amazing. The people there were so friendly. They invited us into their homes. Like everything that I've seen about Slab City, oh, it's a dangerous place. It was disproven in my experience. So check it out. It's on my YouTube channel.
Oh, okay, okay. So this one is from one of our viewers, 11 Bravo from Nebraska. Wonderhussy said Fenn talked a lot about West Yellowstone when you visited him. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Did he point you in that direction a little? Thanks. So was there intent behind what he was saying to you?
Well, it was hard to tell, like I said earlier, whether he was like trying to mislead us or he was trying to give us a clue. And he didn't, really hammer in on one specific area. He just talked a lot about his memories of his childhood summers in West Yellowstone. So yeah, we thought we'll just go hit all the hot spots up there. So we went to Ojo Caliente, the little thing in the Firehole River. And
you did. Fact, you swam in it, right?
We went there we needed to wash our hair. We were dirty from sleeping in our cars. Okay, and we used a natural shampoo. Okay, Dr. Bronner, so it doesn't harm the fish, just in case there's any environmentalists watching. And so we did our thing. We took a bath and we took a selfie of both of us and emailed it to Fenn. And do you know what his answer was? Oh, there's one rule about the Firehole River I forgot to tell you girls. No tops allowed. Fenn! I never heard such talk like that.
He does like the ladies. This is from a friend of mine who also happens to be a former detective sergeant in Clovis, New Mexico, and he applies a lot of his skills to the Fenn treasure hunt. His name is Sean Martinez. His question is, what is your favorite clue or the clue you consider as the one you may be stuck on or missing in the poem?
I mean, I can't even figure out where warm waters halt, really. I mean, I'd say brown, this whole brown thing. I spent a lot of time thinking about that.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good stumper one. Mine is not far, but too far to walk. I have dreams. Subjective. Yeah, I have dreams about that. Oops, let me go. You have one of the best shows on YouTube. Keep up the shows. Just a
thank you.
compliment. Didn't say where they were from. Let me go back here and make sure I got that. So this is Doug from Las Vegas. When you are exploring some of those old abandoned places like Coaldale Junction, do passerbys or law enforcement ever question what you are doing?
I've never had a problem with law enforcement, but I was a little self-conscious at first of walking around with because I use my cell phone, just talking to myself essentially. But I've gotten to the point where, man, I don't remember. I think downtown Vegas the other day, just walking around talking about it. I didn't even care. I'm sure people were looking at me weird, but hey. But luckily, yes, no run-ins with law enforcement. I mean, I try to respect no trespassing signs, which is another thing that probably puts me at a disadvantage. I mean, if something is heavily barricaded and says no trespassing, I'm not going to go.
Right. So I think as long as you're talking to your phone, people have learned to accept that as part of whatever, you're streaming or you're making a video.
FaceTime,
it's more difficult when you're looking up at your hand and talking to it. Then it gets weird. Okay, this is from my friend Heather Dawn to Sarah Jane from Heather Dawn in Wyoming. Are you ever scared of coming across a serial killer? You are very pretty and should always be predator aware. There are worse predators out there than animals. I say this from experience. So how do you feel about that?
Well, I've been lucky. I haven't ever had any run-ins with anyone. Sometimes I feel like people are more afraid of me than I am of them. But that being said, I mean, I always carry bear spray because that's another good reason why I don't want to go look in West Yellowstone anymore. Like the first summer I went up there, I was sleeping in a tent, and I did not enjoy that. Okay, I mean, in a Forerunner, it's a little bit different, but even still, New Mexico is nice. There's no grizzlies.
Right, there aren't. There are only black bears, and they're more, as the rangers like to remind us, they're more afraid of you than you are of them.
Exactly. But yeah, as far as predators, I just try to use common sense.
Good, smart. Hi, Sarah. Tom Fry here. You know where I'm from. Don't you, dear? Love you and all your efforts.
Hi, Tom.
One of your subscribers?
Oh, yeah. He's a good friend and fan.
Oh, okay. Here's a good Fenn kind of question for you. Sarah, do you collect anything? Roy from Louisiana.
I collect experiences. That's pretty much it. I mean, I don't try not to weigh myself down, but that being said, I had to turn my guest bedroom into a dressing room because I have so many costumes and clothes. I do a lot of like showgirl type things here in Vegas. So I guess you could say I collect weird outfits.
I was impressed with your homemade outfit at your last Burning Man. You did a great job with that.
Well, thank you, Toby.
Hi, Sarah. Your video of Sarah Gordo hooked me on your channel as a woman pilt. I'm not sure what that is. Pilt, P-I-L-T. I loved how you spoke highly of the woman pilot. I loved how you spoke highly of the woman pilot who lived there. Ever consider getting a pilot's license? You could explore lots more places. Robin in Minnesota. What about that?
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, yeah, Sarah Grotto is a ghost town, and it's an amazing place. This beautiful blonde game show hostess who was also a pilot bought it and fixed it up. So that's what she was referring to. I'd be interested in getting a pilot's license myself, but I have too many interests already and not enough time. So I think I'll just take flights from other pilots. Pilots email me all the time, like, hey, you want to go flying? So in fact, I think I'm going on a helicopter ride in a couple weeks. So I will leave the flying to the others for now, but who's to say in the future?
Yeah, find some reason to get back to Lander, for example.
Yeah.
What percentage of your time is spent at home from Sutton in California?
Oh, not enough. I would say I probably spend it's probably 50-50. I mean, I go on a lot of trips, but it is nice to sleep in your own bed.
All right, so here we are. Justin's corrected his tack, and he said, this is our Minotaur Moreno, it's one of our subscribers. For Sarah, what is the best hint clue you believe you have found in the chase and are willing to give us?
The best hint or clue I have found? I don't know. I mean, this is old news to everybody, but I'm really into the whole warm waters definition from the New Mexico State of Fish and Wildlife. So I really took that as, I don't know, to me it was so weird that it's warm waters with an S and just such a kind of a unique term that kind of seemed like a no-brainer to me. But now it's a matter of finding out what does he mean by where they halt. Yeah. And we all have our ideas on that one.
We do, and if you can get yourself convinced that that's the only place you're going to find the phrase warm waters, the next thing you're going to spend time doing, as we have, is locating exactly where that is. So this is from Ted again in Texas. Thanks for asking my question. Would you give us a heads up on your trip to Texas, apparently, when you plan to go?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Let everybody know.
Probably won't be anytime soon, but yes, I will definitely. I mean, I have a Facebook page that I post all my comings and goings on. So if you're interested in up-to-date information on Wonderhussy, you can find me on Facebook.
And it's Facebook. Your Facebook page is Wonderhussy as well?
Yeah, just Wonderhussy.
All right. I'll make sure people know that.
Yep.
Do you ever think you will ever, do you think you will ever come explore the East Coast abandoned sanatoriums?
Oh my God.
Thanks from Brian Layton in Groton, Connecticut. P.S. Love to watch your YouTube channel.
Well, thank you so much. And yes, of course, I would love to. I mean, the East Coast has the best abandoned ruins. It's just a matter of getting out there. But I will. I definitely will.
So let's see. This is from John in Virginia. Sarah, like you, I often off-road solo in the Mojave Desert. Are there any specific preparations you make before going? I've been enjoying your videos for the past couple of years. So what do you do to prepare for going out adventuring in the Mojave?
Well, I don't typically go alone, or I don't do any kind of super ambitious off-roading alone because, I mean, let's be real, my tires are so big, I don't even know if I could get one off. I mean, I would if I had to, but I prefer to at least be with my sister. But preparations wise, yeah, I always kind of a shovel and a tow strap and way to get myself out. I don't typically carry extra gas because I don't go that far, but if I were to go on a long trip, I would take extra gas, firewood, food, water, basic emergency kit. Yeah.
So I'm going to ask this question, but then I'm going to paraphrase what I think it means. All right.
Okay.
It's from Pete in Delaware. He asks, are you in love now? I assume he means if you're in a relationship now.
I'm not in a relationship, but I'm in love with life. I love everything there is out there. Like, people go, oh, next time you're bored, why don't you look at the... I'm never bored. If you're bored, you're not trying.
That's very good. This is Rick Plank from Cincinnati, one of our subscribers. Sarah, love your videos, especially the ones where you make up stories from the items you find and tell the whole story at the end. Wish you would do more like that.
Oh, thank you. I will do more like that now that I know someone likes it.
Perfect opportunity for a live stream. Paul in Las Vegas, do you still like living in Las Vegas, and do you gamble?
I don't gamble, but I really do like living here. And I made a video all about why, and it's because of the proximity to open spaces. In my video, I started at the intersection of Vegas Strip and Flamingo Road, which is one of the most congested intersections in the world. And I drove 30 minutes east, south, northwest, and was in utter desolation in all directions. And
that really
for a major metropolitan area, that's pretty unique.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I have spent time in Las Vegas and have driven around, but I've never left, city proper.
I'm not a big Vegas person. I mean, I like it. It's fine. Obviously, that subsidizes my property taxes, so keep on coming in and gambling. But for me, it's all about the outdoors.
So this is Joe from Henderson, Nevada. Next time you're in New Mexico, stop by Angel Fire and visit the Vietnam Memorial. Very emotional.
I was there. Yeah. It was very emotional. It was raining while I was there. It was just very fitting.
Yeah. That sounds very appropriate for that particular memorial. Okay, it is within 5 minutes when I promised you we would finish this conversation. So first of all, for those of you that joined us today, both on A Gypsy's Kiss and on Wonderhussy's channel, we really appreciate you being here. We're very grateful that you took the time, and we hope you found it both entertaining and informative. Remember that if you want to participate in our It's All About You campaign of Fenn Searcher interviews, start by filling out the questionnaire at questionnaire.agypsieskiss.tv. You can find Sarah on her channel Wonderhussy Adventures. You can find us on A Gypsy's Kiss. And as I said earlier, we appreciate you taking the time to join us today. So, Sarah, thank you very much. It's been a very entertaining and informative interview as far as I'm concerned. I'm glad we got to do this. I'm glad we got to split this live stream. So not only did we live stream to our channel and to your channel, but we're also live streaming to Periscope, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook. So this is a lot of people are gonna see this. And if you have questions that didn't get answered today, for Sarah, I'm gonna strongly recommend that as soon as this video is posted on her channel, you can go to the comments below her channel and start asking any questions that weren't answered. And I apologize, we literally have hundreds of questions for Sarah, but I promised that we'd get her out of here on the hour because she has to go back to work. Okay.
I'm gonna start doing my own live stream soon, so you can ask me then.
Yes, and we had a conversation about this, and I strongly recommend it to her that because of the type of content she's building, live streams would be perfect for her. So we're going to do what we can to help her get through the technology barriers and get that quickly. Yeah, I think it's good for your channel. All right.
Listen, I enjoyed it. Thank you. And please give my love to Shelly. I'm sorry I didn't get to talk to her.
Well, she's a very good person, but she had made a commitment to this class weeks ago, and she wanted to be here. She's not going to be tonight either. Oh, and that's the other thing for our subscribers. Don't forget, tonight at 7 p.m., same channel, at gypsieskiss.tv, it's our Forrest Fenn Friday Fandango, where we open up the telephone lines. You can call in, comment, ask questions. You can send text messages. So we spend 2 hours, I spend 2 hours taking your incoming and doing the best that I can to respond to your questions about the Fenn treasure. Okay, so join us tonight, 7 p.m. on a gypsyskiss.tv, or in that case, at gypsyskiss.live. So again, Sarah, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And you guys, we're going to go straight to outro. Have a good day, Sarah.
Thank you.